All right, let's talk Dreamhack qualifiers. We're here. We're here. What's up, Mr. Harry Balls? They've come and gone. There was open qualifiers into closed qualifiers. The closed qualifiers are always the RLCS teams. And if not every single team plays, they actually have buys in that round. So you see how like Vitality has buys. Of course, my wife would continue to text me. Come on, wifey. What are you doing? How do I mute this side? There we go. All right. So Vitality got a buy in this side. We'll go over all four, and we'll talk about it. Now, before we get into this, this is for Dreamhack Montreal. The qualifiers were 3 European spots, 3 NA spots, 1 SAM spot, and 1 OCE spot. So the first time there was any qualifiers for a South America team and an OCE team. Plus, there was no invite, so that was the first time for this as well. It feels like it's the beginning of a new season, right? With Dreamhack Montreal being in late September, or early September, I should say, but late in the summer months where we don't really have any tournaments going on right now except for Summit coming up, which is like not a real tournament. So seems like we're in an off season right now, which I think also will kind of make these results invalid going into Montreal. Like, I feel like these results don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, but we're still going to go over what happened because obviously for a lot of these teams, it's very important to, get that free trip to Montreal and do all of that stuff. So the teams are definitely trying. It just feels like it's in an awkward time, right? And also, like, it's probably better that it's earlier. One, because travel then is cheaper for Dreamhack, smart on Dreamhack, but also, like, people are still kind of in the swing of things because we just had Valencia. It's like, there's still some stuff happening, at least a bit. Say we did it later in the summer, then it's really, like, major break time probably for a lot of these teams. The only problem is if you're trying out new rosters, you kind of had to make the switch relatively quick. So that's the only problem there where... sure, like if it's later in the summer, then maybe those new rosters have more time to form. But I still think people are not going to be going crazy over the summer, and maybe those new rosters will come later. It depends when RLCS lock is. But this was like a first take on that. And we talked about the roster mania that happened, so we probably won't get into too many details about that going into this. But again, for Montreal's purposes, when that comes around the corner in September, honestly, these results probably are not going to matter that much. Like, you can't really tell the strength of these teams 2 months later, like after a big off season. It's not going to really matter too much. But again, it's very important for these results for those teams that want to qualify. Now, the other thing too is we are going to have Dreamhack Montreal is the first tournament where we're actually going to have 5 different regions there because I can't remember exactly which Asian team is coming, but they are sending over a team, I think from Japan. So we'll have 5 different regions at a Rocket League event for the very first time, which is going to be really, really cool. Now, once again, these qualifiers, it was 8 invited spots. There's still going to be 24 other spots that are open sign-up. Basically, what they do is they allow RLCS teams, and I think the top 4 from Rival Series, like a buffer period where they get to sign up before anyone else. And then if there's any open spots after that, that's when open sign-ups happen. I think for Valencia, the open sign-ups got closed in 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So if you do want to sign up for something like this, make sure you do it relatively quick. The last time in Dallas, it did take a little bit longer. So maybe it's just a European thing. But if you do want to sign up, make sure when they say the sign-up dates are happening that you are ready to go immediately because you might not be able to play otherwise. So keep that in mind. Anyway, let's get into the results. One other caveat, I didn't really watch any of this. I was hanging out with Giblet, and again, these results probably won't matter too much. I'll probably watch some of it eventually. Just haven't really got around to watching it, so we're just going to talk about results and what happened and yada, yada, yada. Feel free to @ me in chat if, like, something happened that I am not realizing, in case, like, a sub came in. Like, I know Turbo got subbed out for Snasky and all that stuff, but if there's any other ones, let me know. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about Europe first, and we'll just go down the line. I guess we have Europe, North America, OCE, South America. So we'll just go down the line there. So first, Europe, obviously, there's some new rosters. We have Dignitas. They're sticking with Astral. He's officially signed now on that team. Barcelona is the same, even though there was a lot of rumors going around that there could be possible changes there. PSG is the same. Vitality is the same. So a lot of Europe kind of stayed the same. But then we get into the weeds a little bit. With Triple Trouble, they have iIgnite instead of Casio, which means TSM does not have iIgnite. It looks like he got kicked off of TSM. And this is also why when I was talking about the roster rumors and talking about the esports subreddit, you can't ever believe a pro when he's like, yeah, our team is sticking together. Because literally it just happened with Ignite. He's like, we love our team. These boys, we're going to stick together for the next season. And Ignite's already gone. So that's why it's like, that's why pros don't answer a lot of stuff on Reddit. Because you never know what could happen. But that's probably a trial period. Who knows? It's not official. And for Triple Trouble standards, it doesn't have to be official. Because obviously there's no org there. Complexity is the weird one. So they played with Turbo Pulsa as a sub. But the whole Flakes situation happened. Basically, Flakes was trying to shop around for other teams, or trying to kick Greasy for other players. He wanted to improve the team, which is fine. The awkward thing is normally two people agree on that, and that person gets kicked. In this instance, Magnus did not agree, so he's like, go ahead and look around. I'm going to stick with Greasy. So Flakes got kicked for a very short time, and then now he's back on the team. They talked it over. So Turbo was kind of a stand-in here. The one rule that I'm not a big fan of going into these Dreamhack qualifiers is it's a 2/3 rule, where if they qualify, say Complexity qualified with Turbo, they could have just brought Flakes and he would have got the free trip. Not a fan of that. The one thing I would love to see from Dreamhack is maybe do a 2/3 rule for the team, or else it goes to a different team, but make the other guy pay his own way and let Turbo play for some other team and pay for his stuff, that would be messed up. If it's like, all right, Turbo, now you got to pay your own way anyway, even though you qualified. I would rather that, because it kind of feels mean, or it just feels awkward to be like, oh, thanks for helping us qualify. We're going with someone else. I'm not a big fan of qualifiers that go into a tournament where the rosters can switch. I hated it for WSOE when Yukio left, and Flipside qualified with Yukio, but then they got to bring Speed in. It's like, maybe they wouldn't have qualified with Speed. Obviously, they won that tournament, but maybe they wouldn't have qualified with Speed, which kind of feels bad for the other teams trying to qualify, which seems a little bit unfair, personally. But anyway, Bricks obviously have a lot in, and then, a bunch of other teams, which we'll go into a little bit, but we're not going to get too much in the weeds. Method, bringing in Mystic as a sub as well on that squad. Veloce had Casio in instead of Flame. Not sure the reasoning behind that necessarily, but Casio was in instead of Flame. Those are the big ones. So let's go down to the bracket, see what happens. So Vitality, they did what Vitality does. They 3-1 Veloce. They 3-0 the Bricks. Extremely strong result for Vitality, so they qualify. And you don't have to play the finals here because obviously there's 3 spots. So Vitality is in. Extremely easy. But on the other side for the Bricks, they look pretty good. Once again, a lot in speed combo seems to be working with Cooks here. You expect that to be an RLCS team going in, and for a lot, twice now, he got relegated, put back onto an RLCS team. So the luck is with him. He's also a very skilled player, obviously. So he had that one bad season, but he kind of redeemed it a bit on Mouse Sports. Maybe not fully, because I feel like their team defense was kind of garbage. But he's been playing extremely well on the Bricks. He was a top 4 team at a Dallas. So obviously playing pretty well. They take down Complexity. So Turbo had a really bad series versus the Bricks, so then Snasky subbed in the lower bracket. So keep that in mind for Complexity. Like obviously Snasky's not trying to compete at the highest level anymore, so you expect their results to go a certain way, which we'll see later where they lost to Dignitas. We're going to watch replays too. No, I'm just going to do the bracket real quick. PSG, they got their revenge on Barcelona. It seems like every qualifiers, it's always Vitality, Barcelona, then PSG. And Barcelona's been kind of wiping the floor with PSG, but PSG got their revenge. Finally, it looks like they've been a very solid team as of late, and they get the second spot. So definitely a top 2 in Europe, right now at least, would be PSG and Vitality. Obviously PSG, they won Dallas, so they looked really good there. But definitely top 2 here. Barcelona, they fall, but they beat the teams that they were supposed to beat. Triple Trouble, though, they didn't do that. Neither did Dignitas. So Dignitas lost to E-Girls. Let's see who E-Girls is really, really quick. Where are they? There we go. E-Girls, Ixo, Pondex, and Blurry. So not a bad team, but a result that Dignitas should win, and they got 3-0 swept. So that's not fantastic. But again, it's probably growing pains with Astral right now, trying to figure out that team dynamic, and they got plenty of time going into the RLCS. They officially put them on the roster, so they'll have plenty of practice going into RLCS. And people are saying they're probably bottom 2 team, but I don't know. It'll be close. Like I think right now they're probably right on that border of a bottom 2 team. We'll see how Complexity fares after that whole Flakes situation, if they can get that team dynamic going again. Because like if it's a little bit awkward, that can kind of bleed into games, and we could have issues there. But Dignitas right now, they have a lot of things to work on, but we'll see if they can bounce back. Triple Trouble, probably not the greatest tryout for iIgnite. He looks like he brought over the offense from TSM, where they didn't really have a lot. They scored 3 and 2 in the first few games, but after that, not too much. And then obviously they got 3-0'd here, scoring 1 goal a game versus TMM. Tox. Where's Tox? Did they not even show him on here? Here we go. Tox, Trapezoid, Mark, and Monkey Moon. So again, like Mark and Monkey Moon, like I know by name. I don't really know Tox all that well, but still, you shouldn't lose to that team. So Triple Trouble is out in the very first round. So not a great result for iIgnite. We'll see if they stick together. We'll see what happens there going into Montreal. Now, again, like there is no roster lock for Montreal right now until signups happen. So we have that going for us. So there's still time. That probably won't happen for another month, maybe? I'm not really sure. Or not a month. Probably at least like 2 weeks. Like I think they'll probably have a month out before open signups. But maybe they set a date for that. I honestly have no idea. So, whatever. So, those 2 teams didn't go too well. The one team also, which I mentioned before, but I don't think I fully mentioned it. TSM did not play in this. They don't have a third yet. No one knows who their third is. And they decided to not play in these qualifiers. They will be at Montreal, I believe. So, we'll see them there, but they decided to not play in these qualifiers. Moving on, down in the lower bracket, Dignitas at least beat a couple solid teams they beat Method and Veloce, so that's good results right there. Like again, those 2 teams are fighting for those like top of the rival series spots, so those are good results. They also 3-0 Complexity, but again, that's with Snasky. They fell in 5 to Barcelona, so I think sure Dignitas, they put themselves in a hole, and this is why you don't want to lose the series early, but they went 5 games versus Barcelona. That's not a bad result. Now, Barcelona's been a little shaky recently, but they did bounce back here. 5 games against Dignitas, 5 games versus the Bricks, but they do prevail and get that very last spot. So hats off to them. But the Bricks, again, they put on another solid showing. They beat the teams that they needed to beat. They stayed close with other teams, except for Vitality, but it's Vitality. So they put on like a pretty good fight, and honestly, you know, they're looking like probably 5th best right now. I might put Complexity above them. It just depends on their dynamic again, but they're looking really good. So we'll see how the Bricks play, but they're like 4th or 5th best right now in Europe. And Barcelona, honestly, hasn't been looking that great either. So they could bump up as they continue to play with one another. So the Bricks, a solid showing. Hopefully we'll see them at Montreal. They don't have an org, so I doubt we will. Hopefully they get picked up. By that time, maybe Mouse Sports comes over and picks them up. That would be pretty nice. Like I could see why an org right now, there's no incentive to pick up a team right now because RLCS hasn't happened. It's a long off season. So if Mouse Sports did pick up the Bricks, it probably won't happen until right before Montreal, like if they want to send them out, and then the RLCS season. There's just no monetary gain of picking up one of these teams now because you're not going to get any eyes on your team besides some streams, but most of those guys don't stream, so or not that much. So you probably won't see any org pickups right now, but right before Montreal is when you might start seeing those. So at the start of September, that's when contracts might begin, and then it'll be like, hey, maybe even some of these teams are like, it's a 4-month contract. We're going to go through December, and we'll see where we go from there. Because if you have another bad RLCS season, you know, then maybe we back out. But normally contracts are at least 6 months, and normally orgs like to keep players invested for like a year at least. But for the players, it's actually kind of beneficial to have a shorter contract because, say, they're doing well, then they can renegotiate and yada yada. But it depends if they want the consistent salary, which seems right now it's hard times on the Bricks, so maybe they would want that. But yeah, so not too surprising here. The top 3 teams probably in Europe got the 3 spots, so nothing too crazy here, but some good results for, like, I would say Dignitas, they did bounce back at least with some solid results, and they can be pretty proud about their lower bracket run at least, but they have to wake up early on. And the Bricks obviously played really well. Complexity, it was kind of a weird tournament for them, so you can't really see anything for them. And then, like, Triple Trouble, kind of a disaster for them. So we'll see where they go from here because they were a top 4 team. They decided to replace Casio, and they get first rounded. Not a good look. Not a good look so far. So There is Europe. Move on over to North America. North America, we got some surprising results here, but that's probably a little bit due to the fact that Cloud9 and Energy did not play. Energy is supposedly announcing their third soon. Who knows who that is? I think Cloud9 was like on vacation for a while and stuff, so they're probably like, maybe they were still on vacation, so they're just like, we're not going to play in these qualifiers. So, but good result for G2. They were also on vacation a lot leading up after Valencia, so probably not a ton of practice coming into this, but they still get the job done, which is a very good sign for G2. It goes down to 5 games versus Ghost, and you would expect Ghost to probably be a little bit more in form because they're like trying out Mist right now. I believe it was Mist, right? I'm not saying that wrong. Yeah, Mist. So you would expect them to be a little bit more in form, but G2 still pulls out the win, which is very impressive for them. And they also had to buy. Rogue also had to buy. And I wouldn't throw up the panic mode yet for Rogue, but not a great Dreamhack. Not a great Dreamhack qualifiers here as well. Was that a one-shot deal at the World Championships for Rogue? Maybe. But again, who knows? Because again, it's like it's the off-season right now. Maybe, they're just not completely in form. But Rogue, they fell to Afterthought, who obviously played really well in this tournament. And then who else did they fall to? They fell to the Birds and the Bees. That's not fantastic for them because that basically means they lost to maybe a contender for a top 2 spot in the rival series. And they lost to what everyone is saying is the 8th best team in the RLCS, the Birds and the Bees. And they kind of got smacked by them 3-0. So not a great series from them, but obviously, who knows? They're still, it's an off season. You can't expect every result to go your way when you're not in form. In scrims, that Ghost roster is looking scary from Joro. Look at that Joro with the inside information. What's up, Joro? I hope you're enjoying your retirement, man. For sure. Or I guess it would be called a retirement, right? I hope you're enjoying it, dude. Are you planning on coaching any of these teams? Hey, we're getting coaches at Dreamhack Montreal. Maybe Joro comes out as the coach on one of these squads. Like, that'd be fun. Yeah, Rogue in the offseason doesn't mix well from Thunder. That's true. They did this last time, and then they somehow prevailed. So, we'll see. But Afterthought, I will announce the squad here real quick. Shock, Sathu, and First Killer. 3 definitely superstars. To a certain extent, and they definitely look like one of those super teams going into the rival series if that happens. And I think First Killer can play this season. I always forget how old he is. I'm going to assume he can play in the next RLCS, but I could be wrong. Twitch chat, let me know, because we messed up last time. I thought he was playing, and he wasn't. Anyway, the other rosters real quick. Mist is in for Lethermere. They kicked Lethermere, and Mist is now at least a stand-in for now. I don't think he's officially announced yet. So I think Birds and the Bees honestly lost probably their best player. G2, same roster. Rogue, same roster. Space Station has Arsenal, which we all knew was coming. So that means the Peeps are looking for a third. They played with Atomic in this tournament. They played with Karma in the last tournament. So they're still trying to look around for their third player as well. Birds and the Bees, Hoxer, Roldiz, and Ajax. So Ajax is that one, like that stand-in. He played with Roldiz at Dallas, so we'll see how this roster continues to unfold, but that might be the roster that they're going with, but who knows? Who knows where Drip A is, right? Is he on Energy? If he's not on Energy, maybe Birds and the Bees tries to get him. Maybe the Peeps try and get him because they want orgs, he's a solid player, plus he comes with an org, so maybe. The Afterthought we talked about, and that's pretty much it. We don't have to talk about too many more of these guys. So moving on, Space Station had some pretty good results, a 3-0 over Birds and the Bees, which is pretty solid. They lost to Afterthought in 5, though, so Afterthought, they get that first spot with G2, which is very surprising, so well done to them. Ghost Gaming, they went 5 games versus the Peeps. That's a very important game because that's borderline playoffs, borderline world championship, possibly. So that's a good result from them. And moving down to the bottom here, the Peeps, though, they lost to Tequila. Who's on Tequila? False on Star and Krazix. Not the best team in the world to be losing to. So the Peeps, I think they're still trying to figure out what they want to do. After losing Arsenal, it's it hasn't been going well for them. So we'll see what happens with the Peeps, but not quality results recently. Space Station beats out RBG. I think, does RBG have Jacob? No, right? They got rid of Jacob. Yeah, now Seabass, Rapid, and Aeon. Pretty solid squad. That's another one of those squads for a contender for a top spot in the rival series. So Space Station, good win there. And then they took down Ghost in 5. So 2 Game 5s for Ghost Gaming, but they don't get it. But they're still going to be at Montreal. I believe they said that on Twitter. So we'll see them there. We'll see Space Station as well. So they got that last spot. Ghost Gaming, they beat Birds and the Bees, which is a good result for them. And Birds and the Bees obviously beat Rogue, which is a solid result for them. So Birds and the Bees, they had 1 good result, 2 kind of not great results. So we'll see what they do with that squad. At least these games were relatively close. Sort of. The first round, they were still kind of close. Maybe not the most offense in the world for Birds and the Bees. Like only scoring 2 goals max versus these 2 opponents, which is not something I like to see personally. But they put up some numbers against Rogue, so that's good. So those are your 3 teams. So you could probably see G2 and Space Station. That kind of makes sense. You would think the other team would have been Rogue, right? But Rogue, they fell short. Rogue's obviously going to go to Dreamhack anyway, so not a huge deal. I actually like when a team that doesn't have an org qualifies because it's pretty cool because then you get that extra team there, basically, that have a chance to like create some upsets and stuff like that. So Afterthought making it is really, really neat. So I'm happy for those boys, and I'm excited to see how they play at Dreamhack. Moving on. We got OCE. Now, OCE is the weird one here because a lot of roster moves happening, which is what I predicted. They have to figure something out because it's not been going well for this region at the last few events. Like 2019, not been great for them. So Renegades, they bring in Siki, which I think is good. Like I felt like Zen was definitely the weak link on that team. I do feel like it probably is going to need even more work than that, but we'll see. They only started playing with him like 3 days ago before the qualifiers, which is kind of weird again for the Renegades. Like, try and pick up these guys a little bit sooner. Just a little bit. Like, I guess it's hard because Valencia just happened. It's probably a lot of talks and all of that, but, you know, like, you could have got a free trip out here. Maybe Renegades will send them anyway. Maybe they won't. It depends because, obviously, it's really expensive to fly across the entire world, right? So, we'll see. I'm not sure if they said on Twitter if they're going to Montreal anyway, but we'll see. Ground Zero, don't know if they're going either, but it's Deca, Jules, and Zen. Shady was like, supposedly, I saw on Reddit that like this could be wrong. He's like, he's in off-season mode, so that's why the Chiefs didn't play with him. The Chiefs haven't clearly said if he's kicked or not yet. I think I could be wrong about that. Twitch chat hopefully will help me out a little bit, but the one weird thing, now I get it. Like, I love seeing like new phenoms come in, like young phenoms playing. I love it. Love to see it. With Hawk, he's only, 13, I believe? But, why, like, Montreal is literally right before the next season of RLCS. Why would you bring in a 13-year-old to play in qualifiers right before it? And now, like, what happens? Like, say Chiefs, like, whoever their new third is, I really hope they bring Hawk, no matter what. But at the same time, it would be great practice for whoever their actual third is right before RLCS to get all those scrims in. So I'm hoping they still bring Hawk because I think that would be, like, that would suck for Hawk if he's like, hey, I helped you qualify and now we're, like, the Chiefs are going to bring someone else. And also that would suck for the Renegades who are like, it's like this squad didn't even beat us, like, if they don't bring Hawk. And it's like, what the hell? So we'll see what happens there, but questionable moves, I feel like, for the Chiefs because, again, Hawk cannot play in the RLCS, so I don't know what's going on, but they do get the result. So we'll go in here. The Chiefs just ran through teams. Renegades almost brought it back. They actually lost early on to the Farm, so a team that they should definitely not lose to. And then they had to make a lower bracket run, which they did, but wasn't great. Like, Ground Zero got the unfortunate out of playing Chiefs and Renegades, so you can't really fault them too much there. So, like, sure, they had a bad result, but they played 2 of the top teams, so I'm not too worried about that. But the Renegades almost pulled it back, but the Chiefs do get the spot. Now the question is, who do they bring to Montreal, which could be weird. I'm pretty sure Hawk will be going. I hope so, but at the same time, like, it's weird because I feel like as a smart decision, you don't bring Hawk. But as a morale decision or like a honor system decision, I can't think of the word, you bring Hawk, right? But it doesn't seem like that would be the smart idea, but who knows? I hope they do that. It's like, do you pick with your mind or do you pick with your heart? I hope they still pick with their heart, but, you know, it makes a lot more sense to pick with your mind. But who knows? The one benefit is OC normally, you know, there's still going to be like the Chiefs, even whoever they bring in, very likely they're still a top 2 to top 4 team just because the competition is a little bit less after that. So maybe it's not as important, but at the same time, all those scrims, all that practice could be the difference of are you going to the World Championship in November like or December, like if that happens, whenever that happens. All those scrims and practice could really help them. It could give them a nice head start going back to OCE. So who knows? So that's why I'm like, I don't get why you would bring Hawk, but at the same time, since Hawk did qualify, I want to see him there, right? It'd be a good story. So that's OCE. Very weird one. They only get one spot, obviously, so Chiefs get it. Renegades did not. I don't know if Renegades or Ground Zero is going anyway to Montreal. Again, it's far trips and very expensive, and also very taxing. It's a lot of travel. Like, say the RLCS begins like a week later, which I have no idea when it starts, but say that happens, like, they have to travel all the way home. Like, I would assume there would at least be 2 weeks before, like, RLCS play happens, just because of travel and all that, and they want to make sure that these guys have practice, but it could happen. So it's, like, a little bit questionable. So we'll see. Lots of travel. Lotus coming in and getting the win here, and Sam's going through another one of those roster move things where everyone's kind of moving around here. I kind of forget exactly. Like, Kyle's coming over from Low Key, who lost Renan. I think it's Renan, actually. Like INTZ, that's the same team, right? Yeah, that's the same team. PJ, Reppy, and Maddox, I'm pretty sure. I kind of forgot, like, some of these rosters. But Lotus, Firefox, Haber, Camper, and Renan coming in. Like, Renan or Renan, I forget which one it is. I'm going to go with Renan. I felt like at the World Championships, like, we talk about the other two players on low key, right? Card and Tander all the time. And that's fine. Like, if you talk about two of the other players, like, they're the main offense. And that's fine as long as you finish shots that you should hit. And Renan did not do that at the World Championships. There's many opportunities where he had wide open nets or pretty wide open nets and just completely missed. And it's like, if you're going to be a support player on a team and you want to make it to the World Championships or whatever, and you can't finish wide open nets, then you're going to get kicked pretty soon. Now, who knows? Maybe that was nerves. Maybe it was just that one tournament. But he didn't put on a good impression to me, like, at that tournament. But obviously, he showed up here. Lotus gets the spot. So we'll go over here. Lotus, they took down Low-Key. They took down INTZ. Then they took down INTZ again. And INTZ almost brought it back. So this is extremely rare that we have two bracket resets that go back to the upper bracket team. It's not something that happens a lot with Rocket League, but it happened in both SAM plus OCE. So crazy to happen here. But Lotus gets the spot. And INTZ took down Low Key, so they're still playing well. They took out Erodium as well. So, like, these are the big squads right here. And that's what you want to see, like, those results. But it's going to be very exciting to see a SAM team at Dreamhack. Want to see how Lotus does. Now, the one thing is seeds don't necessarily have to be top 8 anymore for the teams that get invited. So we'll see how they seed. Because, again, we're going to have an incredibly long offseason where probably there's going to be no other results from now till then, unless they play in, like, community tournaments that happen. Like, I think Rival Esports is doing a 1,500 tournament or something like that. But for the most part, there's not going to be a lot of quality results anymore. So you would expect at least North America and the Europe teams to probably have the top 6 seeds that qualified. Maybe not Afterthought, just because, you know, who knows. But you'll probably mix in, actually, Cloud9 and Energy will actually probably be up there as well, which I forgot about. So they'll have the top 7 seeds except for maybe Afterthought. And they'll probably be a little bit lower down on the list. And then OCE, like, they weren't even a top 16 seed going into Dreamhack Dallas. And it proved right, basically. Only Ground Zero getting one upset there versus TSM. So OCE is probably going to have pretty poor seeding once again. And we'll see if they can bounce back. South America probably won't get much better seeding. Probably be right around OCE just because they don't have any wins yet versus international competition. So we'll see where Lotus is. But I would assume they would be right around the OCE squads, whoever does show up. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Dreamhack Montreal, September 6th, maybe? I don't even know. Let's see. Yeah, nice. Actually, you're right. September 6th through the 8th. So that's when these squads will battle it out. Still a long ways away. So, again, a a lot of these results probably won't matter by then. It'll we'll have to see how the offseason goes for some of these guys. I assume the OC teams probably won't be boot camping again. Like they boot camped Renegades and Ground Zero at least for Dallas because they have World Championships and all that stuff. So they probably won't do it again. So the boot camp, it seemed like it didn't go too well, at least in results for OC last time, but they basically have to be back and scrimming with OC teams and getting ready for the season, I would assume, anyway. So they'll probably want to be home as well because a lot of these guys were out here for like a month, which is a long time. So they'll probably want to be home and all that stuff. And then I would assume that RLCS will begin shortly after Montreal. Now, again, I have no insider information. I have no idea. That's just my guess. So we'll see. Maybe a week after that, like the 21st, might be league play. So we'll see. But it'll be exciting times. We'll see. Buy now. Buy over here. We've got some ads coming in here from Liquid. But yeah, that'll do it for these Dreamhack qualifiers recap. And if you didn't see the games, go back and watch them. Like I haven't watched them yet, but I'll probably wind up watching them soon. Exciting stuff. But yeah, that's it. Dreamhack qualifiers are in the books. We'll have 5 regions at Montreal. Definitely watch that, but it's in a month and a half. So you'll probably forget. I'll remind you throughout the month and a half. But that'll do it for me on the Dreamhack recaps. Thanks for watching, and say bye to YouTube, Twitch chat. I guess I didn't need the logo now that I see it up top there because it's always on the screen right here. I kind of messed that up. We got 2 logos now. I should get paid double for this. I'm actually not getting paid anything for this. So